read from a novel in progress, a short beginning to a chapter that is all about truth reconciliation. And all you need to know is that a young thief has lost her dog, and a woman named Sonia finds the dog in the street and takes it in. And the thief breaks into Sonia's apartment when she's not there to get her dog back. While she's there, she's looking around a little bit, and a tree falls through the kitchen window, kind of wrecks the kitchen, as they do. So she absconds with her own dog, and she also takes with her Sonia's elderly golden retriever. And here's what she writes after that fiasco. Dear Sonia, if I had been foolish enough to stick around until you arrived home to find your dog missing and half your kitchen smashed, this is what I'd say by way of explanation. As it is, I'm writing it in the blank pages of your journal, now that the dogs and I are safe in an undisclosed location. I took this journal off the back of your toilet tank right before the tree fell through your apartment, which, as you know by now, I was robbing at the time. Well chosen. It's very nice, creamy paper, and doesn't have any bothersome lines. I've read every word you wrote in this journal, of course. Stories, especially the stolen ones, are irresistible. It's my fault that the tree fell through your home. To be more specific, it's Dom's fault, but I'm the reason Dom was there. What does this have to do with you and your fucked up kitchen and your handsome but irascible dog? There may not be an answer that makes sense to you. Chance, I'm afraid. Straight up bad luck. In order to explain this unlucky chain of events, I have to explain things that happened way before I ever popped the lock on your flimsy front door. It began with a family of wolves, the family that raised me, which did not teach me the good sense to beware of a psychopath with a limp and a squint and a tattoo that read Death Eater. Just kidding. That's what somebody like you would imagine about somebody like me, right? Simply put, I fell in with a crowd that did not like to follow rules, and Dom was at the edge of it. He came to town when I was at just the wrong age. Perhaps he was visiting a friend or looking for a job that fell through. It was a little vague where he came from and why. He was suddenly there and everyone knew him. I mean, knew the barest outline of him. We could pick him out of a lineup. The first thing I noticed about Dom was cigarette smoke drifting in his direction. I watched all night, fascinated, and it didn't matter whether there was a breeze or where he was sitting or how many people moved in and out of the room. He barely moved, drinking beer and listening to a kid named Angel play guitar. Each smoke tendril curled up and trailed across the room to slip over his cheek or snag in his hair. He didn't seem to mind the billowing cloud. It was as if he came with his own microclimate. He caught me staring and mistook my intentions. Dom made this almost virgin lesbian teenager very confused. He sang me songs and combed my hair and twisted and turned himself around and inside me with skinny limbs that felt longer than they really were, limbs like vines, at times pinning me down, other times drawing me up. I didn't know anything about how the world worked or how to meet a nice girl, but I knew what felt good. In short, Dom made my pussy sing and my heart sink. I'll be honest, Sonia, he rummaged through me like I rummaged through your apartment, a place I had no business being. Not invited, but not quite unwelcome either. I thought I was rid of him. I came here to the city with Budgie and had Sneaker for a while. Then suddenly, I was alone again. And he knew it, the same way I'll know it, when you come home to survey the damage and search fruitlessly for this journal full of sad secrets that you keep on the back of your toilet. Odd choice, by the way. Dom came back. He wasn't done with me. Your apartment just got in his way. Sonia, this is hard to explain. I mean, I'm embarrassed to even try. Something about the way Dom looked at me made my bones feel sludgy. Not as unpleasant as it sounds. For as long as I could remember, I had a problem with I. People use the pronoun as if I is a fixed identity, the eternal self. A person may change on the outside, but inside a kind of self-sap courses. And it stays true for 70 or 80 or even 90 years. But I felt as if myself, my I, was so thin as to be permeable, changing from moment to moment and mood to mood, no thread linking one state to the next, pulled apart like dandelion spores on the faintest breeze. Who am I? Where is I? When I fell in with the philosopher stoners at school, I learned theories. The self is simply and always a multitude, a gymnasium with hundreds of different selves filling the bleachers. Or maybe God is the I, and we're transient until we find solid footing on God's nose or the Buddha's. Reach out as you drift past and try to grasp at divine chin or the fold of a robe. Or it's a tree in a dense forest linked to other trees through its roots, having a very quiet, very busy conversation. Or the self is a Ferris wheel, delivering a new rider to the apex of consciousness at each moment. Or it's a minnow swimming from room to room in a deep sea wreck. Or anything at all, anything we can find the words for. The point is, I never felt solid until Dom. With Dom, I was weighty. Something in his cold, heavy gaze made me feel my eye, anchored it, made it sluggish, and I came to understand too late, really, really dumb. This was such a new feeling for me, a dense unease as opposed to the more fleeting, airy dis-ease I was used to. It almost felt like certainty. In some lights, it could be mistaken for love. Then I became so solid I couldn't breathe. It took all of my effort, every bit of it, to be rid of him. Getting rid of him ruined something in me, but it also consolidated me. I am not a minnow or a dandelion spore or a Ferris wheel. It took me almost 18 years to figure that out, but I'm precocious by some measures. How did this bring me to your doorstep, Sonia, and over the threshold and up the stairs? Be patient. The part where this hard luck story turns very sour is the part where I betrayed my mentor and art teacher, Vesta Dunwoody. Ms. D had been an art teacher at the high school for 30 years until the funding got cut. She was grudgingly semi-retired, making a little money as an adjunct faculty at the community college and teaching for what she called a pittance at the community rec center on Saturdays. The rec center is where we met. Introduction to observational drawing. After that, I took ecstatic encaustics, then the power of pastels. Whatever she taught, I signed up for. Ms. Dunwoody recognized in me someone equally, helplessly in love with the scent of chalk and fresh paper. She was extremely old and tall, her gray eyes emphasized with deep black eyeliner. She wore billowy clothes and scarves and heavy, dangly earrings. Her earlobes were huge because of the earrings, and they made her seem like an exceptionally active listener. You could see them tremble with concentration, especially when she talked about the slides she projected onto the wall of the rec center art room. Everything about her was large and vivid. She had a lantern jaw, her face droopy and lit at the same time, and her hands were big and blue-veined. To me, her power was rooted in the smell of linseed oil and strongly voiced opinions about art. Whatever you do, Ms. D told me after assessing my clumsy first attempt in exploring oils, do not paint like the consumptive waffling heroine of a 19th century novel, dabbing the brushes if you're afraid of loud noises. Paint responds to authority, and it will look like it's done by a simpering idiot if you try to be tender or economical. Her voice boomed over the room. Clouds are not wispy. Look closer. They are the physical manifestation of our primary element, the stuff your guts are made of. They should inspire awe. Pretty is for chumps. Poor Ms. D. I can still see her periwinkle scarf caught tangled in a bush at the side of that lonely road. It's not just dumb. Now she's haunting me, too.